Hi again. Let's go over very quickly some objectives that I have in mind with this video. One objective is to emphasize the need to use the official course schedule to track your own progress through weekly readings, lessons, demonstrations, coaching, lectures, and graded submissions. Another objective is to provide you a strategy on how to use the course schedule while working through the weekly task online. Yet another objective is to demonstrate why the gradebook should not be used as a primary, much less a sole source for keeping track of your weekly learning, instruction, assignments, coaching, and whatnot. I also want to provide a heads up on something called adaptive learning, which is deployed to some bundles, but not all. While going through my points, I will cue you verbally on what to write in the text box for this item. That is for item 12, which you are now at in virtue of watching this video. You should see a text box below the link to this video without any questions or prompts, and that's because you're getting them in the video. And the answers are based on what I go over in this video. So that said, I want to start off by emphasizing that you should always start each week with the official course schedule. That is the one on the syllabus. So let's go ahead and let me drag that document over to our screen. Let me shift the camera. All right, so the official course schedule starts on page 7 of the syllabus, and this is what I'm talking about. Every week you want to start with this. Not online, not in the gradebook, not even in the weekly bundles folder, but what is printed here. As you can see, I always give you 4 kinds of information, maybe 5. So the weekly bundle title, a highlight, the availability period, an approximate time commitment, as well as a breakdown of task and/or any components of a given task. Let's talk about availability. The earliest that you can start on a given bundle will be what you see as the start date and time, or as the beginning date for a given bundle, and it's always going to be at noon. So I am letting you start the week 1 bundle early, so it was available on a Wednesday at noon on 1/13, but normally, as you can see in the rest of the course schedule, a given bundle of tasks will come online or be available no earlier than on a Monday noon. That's true for the rest of the week. I might be able to make week 2 available early because it is very intense, but I am revising this writing assignment. I'll let you know if you can have access to it early, but it could be that you do not have access to it until the normal availability or beginning availability time and date of a Monday at noon. The day and date that you see at the end of an availability period is what constitutes something that you read about on page 5 of the syllabus, and that is the official deadline. So the official deadline for, let's use week 2 as an example, for getting all of week 2 and its components A through D done will be at the end of the availability period. So the official deadline for week 2 is Monday 2/1 at noon. Now remember what you read about in the syllabus. Every single bundle has a late deadline. I got this idea of an official deadline and a late deadline from a student who says they wish that there were almost 2 kinds of deadlines, and so that's what I have. So go to page 5 to see what the day would be in terms of on which day of the week how late in the week, on which day can you still submit the week 2 or the week 3 bundle for that matter and still get full credit and time. Now, that said, if you do submit something between the official deadline and the late deadline, I will not grade the items that are submitted between the official deadline and the late deadline till either the end of a given unit or until a grade report is due or even till the end of the semester. So it behooves you to get the stuff in by the official deadline, because the more items that you turn in between the official and late deadline, the less accurate your grade is going to be in terms of seeing what your current course grade is. All right, so now that we've talked about availability, official deadlines, late deadlines, and grading for things that are submitted late but by the late deadline, we are going to now focus on the fact that as you have seen, in the week 1 bundle, what you see in the official course schedule for a given week is completely aligned with what you see online in an online bundle for a given week. Now, to get to another point, as a transitional point, I want to focus on week 2, and this is going to lead to a warning that you really need to heed. So as with all the other weeks, week 2 has all this information here. You see the availability, and then it has the task. So you can see that it has task 2.1. It's broken down into what I call components. So each bundle will have each task listed, as well as any components within that task. I like to break down each weekly outline into components and not just tasks necessarily, so that you can get a better sense of everything you need to do for that week. Now, as you can see, it does provide a somewhat detailed breakdown of what you're going to be doing during week 2. Now, of course, the lessons themselves nor any instructions are included in the course schedule, but the course schedule does tell you that you have a lesson or some instructions to access. So here you see that you are going to have to download 2 documents. You are going to have to follow some lectures. This doesn't tell you how long the lectures are, but by the time you get online, you'll see how long the lectures are and how many there are. You know that in addition to some lecture videos, you're going to have to watch some more videos that have to do with instructions on how to use what you learn in the lecture videos. And then, of course, you see submit responses. Of course, this here, task 2.1d, building on components A, B, and C. So your ability to do well on week 2, task 1d, is in part a function of working through this outline attentively and carefully. All right, so now the question that I have for you to answer, and so you should have a sentence. If you want to quote me, that's fine, but make sure you use quotation marks and that you clean up the English. So I've had some students who quote me, but they include the things like oh, or the syntax and grammar look terrible because, of course, the way we speak isn't the way that we should write something up for a college assignment. So make sure you clean up the English if need be. So my question is this. What did I say about weekly availability of each bundle? What did I say about the earliest a given bundle would be available? What did I say about the official deadline for the week 2 bundle in particular? And what did I say about about grading for items that are submitted between the official deadline and late deadline? So I already answered all of those questions in this part of the video. Your job is to answer each of these questions exactly in complete sentences. You may wish to pause the video before moving on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go to my next, the second of 4 parts to this video. So I do want to issue a huge warning. A huge mistake that some students make is using the gradebook as a source for what needs to be done for a given week. Some people will do this with week 2. So we've already gone over what all is entailed in week 2. Oh, by the way, in case I haven't said this, you do double check your submission documentation. That was part of an orientation step, so you should already know what I mean by this, but you don't give this to me. You keep this in your records in case I claim you didn't submit something. So let's say I give you a 0 for week 2, task 1D, or task 2 basically. If you have documentation that you submitted actual content, then we will resolve the issue and you will get, I will work something out with you. If you cannot find your documentation because you didn't do it in real time when you got the message that your stuff had been submitted or proven that you did it, then you will be out of luck. But you don't give this to me unless I ask for it. That is, the very last task in each bundle. Okay, so that said, I was talking about a mistake that some students make. So as we saw with week 2, there's 2 tasks, and the first task is broken down into 4 components. One is to download documents you need for a lecture, but also to get instructions on what to do with the lecture. So let's look at the gradebook. So just focusing on week 2, we could also make a similar point with week 1, but I think week 2 is even more emphatic. So let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. If we go to the gradebook, all we see for week 2 is we see there's step 6 of orientation. So notice that the other steps for orientation aren't included in the gradebook because the gradebook only has what you submitted for a grade. It doesn't have any other important information or lectures or video-based instructions that I may have given. Look at the next item. Submit your response week 2 task week 2, task 1D, 10% of course grade. Next, you'll see week 3. Okay, so as you can see, right, not everything that is needed to complete task 1 of week 2 is here. I have had students in the past tell me, I'm so confused. I have no idea what you want me to do for the foundational writing assignment. And what I have found with these students, or some of them anyway, is that they're going to the gradebook. And of course, when they go to the gradebook, all they see is that there's a writing assignment. The problem is that they have not followed instructions in one, starting out with the course schedule, right? And then they haven't gone to, upon doing that, going to the bundle folder for this task to start working through what is in the course schedule. So again, the gradebook only has the items that you actually submit for the grade, not any items that are needed to do well on what is submitted. To break it down in more detail, and this is what I'm going to be partly interested in when I give you a follow-up question, is that a student could feel lost or confused by only going to the gradebook, and the reason is going to be a student could also miss a task or miss something that needs to be submitted for grade. But here's the deal. With respect to the writing assignment, I could see a student being confused and lost, one reason being that the student missed out on the context, the video-based instruction, in this case for week 2, having to do with how we construct arguments in philosophy. They didn't get the topics or the prompts in another set of videos for week 2, and so they didn't get the instructions needed to complete what is needed to do well on this task. So again, the issue with using the gradebook is that it only has a list of things that you submit for a grade. It does not include other important information, video-based lectures, video-based instructions, written instructions necessary for doing something that you submit and is noted in the gradebook. All right, so the next question that I need you to answer, or set of questions that I need you to answer, is or are as follows. What have I said is the problem with using the gradebook as the only source of what needs to be done each week? What did I say is generally the problem? What would be an example of 3 things that you would miss for week 2 if you used only the gradebook? That's the second question. You may need to rewind this video and listen to both questions. Make sure, as you did with the first item in this Blackboard Created Review, that you are incorporating question stems, prompt stems, and wording into your responses in complete sentences. You may wish to pause the video and construct your sentences to answer this question. Don't forget that if you are quoting me, you need to use quotation marks, or you could lose up to half or all points for your answers for this item, possibly the entire orientation, because that would be a form of plagiarism, and I'm really big into academic honesty and making sure we don't slip up on things that such an important aspect of our academic experience and personhood. Okay, so at this point in the video, we are now 50% through it. This is the third part of this orientation video, and it has another warning for you. And for that warning, we're going to want to go to the weekly bundles again. And I can see, because I have a special setting for me, I can already see the week 3 bundle. So one mistake that students make is trying to use only the online bundle or version of a bundle, what's outlined in the course schedule, as the sole source of what needs to be done. Why should you avoid this? Okay, well, let's open up the week 3 bundle folder. Of course, you've got your introductory video. Make sure you're listening to the introductory videos, by the way. They contain updates, important information, clarifications, and sometimes missing information for lecture or instructions for any tasks. But look at this. So you have learn more about the formal study of ethics, week 3, task 1, and then it goes directly from task 1 to what? Task 4. That's what it says there. And in fact, I'm wondering if that's a typo. That might be task 3. But in any case, what you notice is that you're wondering, like, well, where are the other tasks? How did they get from 1 to 4? You might think that I haven't done my job in making sure everything's available. Well, the reason is that I have used something called adaptive learning. I'll get more into adaptive learning in a minute, but what I want to point out to you is that the online bundle is not sufficient for knowing what needs to be done. Let's go ahead and look at the syllabus again. Look at what it has for week 3. It has 3 tasks. So it has task 1, learn more about the philosophical branch of ethics, which is what that says. Well, here I have learned more about the formal study of ethics, but I will have changed this title by the time we get to this video. This will say learn more about the philosophical branch of ethics. Sometimes I guess this is a good point. Sometimes my subtitles for the task are a little bit off, but you can see that the subtitles are just phrased a little bit differently. But let's go back to the main point, which is here, the official course schedule says that there's another task, and that's to learn about intellectual virtue. And you can see that you have something else to submit for a grade. So here you only see task 1, but you don't see task 2. And by the way, I'm going to change this to say 2%, and then just keep in mind that the official course schedule, the percentage is correct on that. So the official course schedule says that week 3, task 1 is worth 2%, so we'll have corrected that by the time you get to this video. And then this is worth 2%, and I will have corrected that if it's incorrect in the online bundle here. But the point still stands, right? And that is that you don't see task 2, you only see task 1. So you might actually complete week 3, task 1, thinking that's all you have to do if you didn't look at the course schedule. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm a student. Again, this one will be worth 2%, and I will have changed that by the time you get to this video. So let's just say I did all that. I'm about to show you something really important. Okay, sometimes you have to go back up to get to some other information that you need, so give me a second. Okay, all right. All right, now we are in week 3, and guess what? Now you see task 2. What does this show? This shows that task 2 appeared only after I submitted what was in the task 1 folder. Okay, now that means that I decided that for this week, week 3, it was important for you to complete this task right here, reading about ethics and the study of ethics and ethics as a branch of philosophy, before you got to the lesson on intellectual virtue. That's why I applied adaptive learning. And in general, that's why I apply adaptive learning, because I think the logic is very important in terms of what order you proceed through a given task within a given bundle. Now, I cannot always do that. It depends on the assignment, but most of the time I can. I am not saying that I'm going to deploy every single time within every single bundle adaptive learning, but sometimes I will. Sometimes I even deploy adaptive learning within a given bundle, within a given content folder. So when you're inside a bundle such as this one, this is the week 3 bundle, I call these bundle folders. So bundle folders for task 1 and task 2 here in week 3. I also refer to the breakdown within a bundle folder, within a task folder, or I call it a content folder. So content folder, task folder within a bundle folder. Then I refer to these bulleted points as components of the task. So 1A is a component of week 3 task 1, 1B is a component of week 3 task 1. All right, so that said, I have another question for you to answer, and that is, what is the problem with using the online bundles as the only source of information with what needs to be done each week? In other words, what did I show you is possible? What might you not see generally that I have done because you haven't used the course schedule? So another way to think about this is you could also be more specific if you prefer. What did I show you with week 3? I showed you that you only see what, right? And what mistake might you make if you're using only the online bundle? All right, so answer those questions as best as you can, and then when you're done, return to the video for the last section and the last question or set of questions. All right, so I'd like to close this video with what I would call a mega strategy. This mega strategy makes it almost impossible to miss any learning, instructions, coaching, and submissions. Step 1 is each Monday at the very beginning of the availability of a given, and actually I'm going to turn this around. At the beginning of a given bundle. Okay, so step 1, always do this by Monday or even Sunday, the day before a bundle becomes available. Monday, Tuesday at the latest, just to make sure that you have enough time to do some time management in your weekly schedule. Always look at the official course schedule in the syllabus. Remember that is on pages 7 through 11. Look at it, see what all is entailed. How many tasks, how many components for each task? What is the estimated number of hours that you're going to need to complete each task? Also keep in mind that some of you may need less time, some of you may need 1 to 3 more hours. We're not all at the same place when it comes to how we process information. Some of us are at different places when it comes to writing skills, so it takes us longer. Some of us read more slowly. I personally am a very slow reader. I'm a slow thinker, and I process information very slowly. It takes me a long time to get things, and it takes so much concentration. It's a lot of hard work, which is crazy since I chose philosophy, because philosophy really challenges me for that reason. Okay, but that's step 1. Start with the official course schedule in the syllabus. Step 2, write in your calendar when you will complete each task, knowing you need an average of 5 hours each week for this course. Some weeks you might find that you only need 3, even if I say you need 5 or 6. Some weeks you might see that I said you need 5 or 6, but you're actually going to need 7 or 8, depending on a variety of factors that have to do with you in your current intellectual situation, your academic situation, and any reading and writing skills that you have or have not yet developed. Step 3, this is a big one. Use the official course schedule as a checklist. So if you don't have a printer and you don't want to print out the course schedule so that you can literally cross out each component of a task or each task as you finish it, what you could do is you could copy that week's bundle outline. So you could copy the outline for week 3 or week 2, for example, and then physically cross out when you get stuff done. This would be very helpful for making sure that you're keeping track of your work. I'm very physical. I find that having a physical piece of paper really helps me a lot. Okay, and then step 4. Okay, now listen very carefully, because I don't want you to think that I'm contradicting myself, and you might think that if you're not listening carefully. Step 4 is to, yes, use the gradebook as part of your strategy for making sure that you have completed all tasks, all components of a task for a graded week's worth of learning and whatnot. So what you can do is use the gradebook to cross-check to make sure that you have submitted anything that will be graded. So for example, when it comes to week 2, components A, B, and C are about downloading documents, getting lecture, getting instructions for component D. You can still and should still go to the gradebook to make sure that you see that component D does show as submitted and or scored in the gradebook. All right, now, for your last question to answer, and don't forget to incorporate the question or prompt stem into your response in a complete sentence. How did I say you should start each week in this class? Using what source? And what did I say about the gradebook in this part of the video?